So it's 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 8th. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have all 5 board members in attendance. And first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meeting of the board of directors for November
10th.
10th.
So,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for us.
Anybody have any questions, discussions, comments?
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of the November 10th meeting?
I move.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. All right. So, all right. Number 2, receive comments from the public. Dee, you are the public.
I am the public. Okay, and my questions are for Gerard. Since I never saw his face after April, because he didn't show his face on the Teams meeting, I'd like to know, Gerard, just why are you on this board?
I'm on the board to serve the community and make sure that we've got safe water and safe, good drainage. Can't hear.
Well, you're gonna have to talk louder, so we can all hear you. Okay, my question goes back to that town hall meeting. When you got up and you were telling everybody that you did the virtual tour and all this jazz, when you never really did that. So why did you lie to everybody?
Dee, I didn't lie to anybody. I did the virtual tour.
When? Not before that meeting.
Oh gosh, it's been a year ago. I don't remember the exact date. I think it's been confirmed before.
Actually, it wasn't, because this was before the May election. It would have been in April, sometime in April. It hasn't been last year. The only tour you
Yeah,
took
so
was
sit
with
there.
Richard. You took a tour with Richard.
I did
That's,
a physical
everybody
tour
does that.
with Richard and with Tom, I believe it was. Correct, Tom?
Yeah, but that's just the tour, you give that to all the newbies, just to kind of show them around, let them know. But you didn't take,
Taylor did.
Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, he was there too.
he was there? Well, he didn't,
That was,
from what, not
I
from
was
what
gonna say,
I.
that was after the meeting.
Yeah,
so.
that was after this. That was not before the meeting.
No, we did the tour right after I became a board member.
Yeah, with Richard.
And we did a virtual tour with Taylor following that.
You did not do a virtual tour.
Dee, I did it, I'm telling you I did it.
Before the
I
April
don't remember the
meeting.
exact date, I'd have to go back
Okay.
and check.
Yeah, we
my
did
email and
check.
notes.
We did check. Because that really kind of put us off about 6 months.
So, are you
Finally.
calling me a liar, Dee? I've answered your question.
Well, you didn't tell the truth up there.
I have told the truth.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, the thing is, you getting up there caused us to lose 6 months and about $40,000 to $50,000 that we had to spend on another bond election. And we're slow here. I mean, we got stuff to get done. I mean, it was funny, because after that May election is when all the stuff started falling apart in the community. You were hearing about all the pipes breaking and everything else. So, I just kind of disappointed. So, okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Any comments from anyone else who's not in the public here?
Anybody else here?
Invisible man.
Yeah, okay. Number 3 is authorize issuance and distribution of official notice of sale and preliminary official statement for districts 1.675 unlimited tax park bond series 2022. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Davis,
Okay.
or Lauren, whoever.
Good evening to you all. Nice to see you. We sent a second draft of the notice of sale and preliminary official statement to all of your consultants and to all of you on Monday. Hope you had maybe a chance between now and then to review this document. This document is not in final form. And actually, before I jump into this, I think it might be helpful to just briefly kind of outline where we are in the process, what we've done to this point, and where we're headed. So you can see the date on this very first page. We are preparing to print this document, finalize it. We plan to make it public around January 19th in anticipation of your January 27th meeting. So we would plan to receive bids on the morning of January 27th, and then bring those bids for your review at your meeting on January 27th. I mentioned that we would finalize this document between today and January 19th, and print this document on January 19th. We sent the first draft of this document around to all of your consultants before Thanksgiving, and have received comments from all of them. We will continue to receive comments from them, but I'll say thank you now to your engineer and to your bond counsel and to your disclosure counsel for the comments that they've already provided for this document. Now, I don't know if you all have it in front of you. Happy to get into as much detail as you would like. There's a lot of blanks that are still in this document. As I said, this is just a second draft. And we will be filling in many of those blanks. Some of those blanks will remain blank, such as the interest rate and yields. We won't know what those are until after we receive the bids and select the lowest bid. But just to get into this a little bit, like I say, I'm happy to answer any questions and to go into as much detail as you like. But just to mention a couple things, I really split to two documents, as you said, Julie. There's the notice of sale and the preliminary official statement. The notice of sale is the first smaller document, and then I don't know if anybody printed a color copy, but the preliminary official statement begins about 30 pages in or 25 pages in. It has the red type. And if you printed a color copy and it says preliminary official statement dated December 8th, that is today's date, and has the red type also on the side. The reason that we have a notice of sale is because of the method of sale. In the state of Texas, all new money bonds, new money park bonds issued by municipal utility districts must be issued via a competitive sale, which means that we don't know who the underwriter is before the sale date, okay? And so what the notice of sale does is really provide instructions on how to submit an electronic bid, when to submit an electronic bid, where to submit an electronic bid, and a few other conditions and parameters of the bid that are acceptable to be received, okay? And then the preliminary official statement is really just a disclosure document for anyone, for any bondholder, any investor, anyone who's interested in purchasing your bonds. And this document is responsible for doing the best it can to disclose all of the potential risks about your community and all the potential risks to a bondholder, the risks that you all might not make your debt service payments. Of course, that's my primary concern. All of us here are going to do everything we can to make sure that you have the capacity and can afford to make those debt service payments. But, we have we're working on the disclosure, currently working on the disclosure surrounding Hurricane Harvey. We include disclosure of the infectious disease outlook. We include disclosure of, potential volatility of oil and gas prices. So we include all the risk factors. And then on top of that, in this document, you'll find financial data of the district. You'll see things like an overlapping debt table. As you all know, as residents of your district, all of us, we not only pay taxes to our MUD district, but we also pay part of our property taxes to the city that we live in, the county that we live in. If we live in the Lone Star College system, as you all do, this is on page 25, by the way, is the overlapping debt table. So it kind of mentions, not only what, to give a picture to a bondholder, not only what the what is known as the direct debt in your district would be, but also the overlapping debt, the other entities that residents in the district pay their property taxes to. On page 26, you'll see a tax collections table. That's very useful. The columns on the right show the tax collections up to today, or I guess this is October 31st, 2021. The middle columns show your tax collection rate for the first 12 months. So in the first year after the levy is made, how much money do you collect? And you can see that you're about 95, 96% in all cases. And today you've collected at least 97% in all cases. So that's a good, strong sign. That looks very good. That'll be encouraging to your bondholders. Also included our top 10 taxpayers to get a sense of how concentrated the district is. You can imagine there might be less likely a city, but certainly a municipal utility district that might not have a residential component and is made up of only industrial and commercial components. And so there you'll see the top 10 taxpayers to be a lot more concentrated, and that's a risk, right? Because if one company goes bust, or if a couple companies goes bust, and you lose 2 or 3 of your top 10 taxpayers, that's a serious threat to the ability of the district to repay the debt. Here, since your district is primarily residential, you can see that the top 10 taxpayers make up less than 6% of the total taxable assessed value of your district. So that's another credit positive. That's another thing that will be reassuring to potential investors who are looking through your document. Davis has heard me before. I could literally talk about this all night. I'm certainly happy to. But I'm going to pause here and just ask maybe if there's any questions that I can answer.
I've got a question.
Please.
When you talk about the bids for the agencies that are going to be, is that for the people that are going to be buying the bonds or buying them and reselling them, or what?
Correct. That's exactly right. So these bonds will be offered to the market, to the primary market. There are a few underwriters who would generally participate in this space of kind of a district that hasn't issued in a while, that would be non-rated. And so those firms include GMS, another one called First Miami, and maybe Hilltop Securities is maybe the most well-known of those 3. But there's really just a handful, 3 or 4 or 5 who would participate. And then just as you said, so they would purchase your bonds initially in the primary market, and then as you said, resell them in the secondary market. But even, secondary market investors would be receiving a copy of this. I guess at that point it would, so this is the preliminary official statement, which as I said, has some blanks and will continue to have some blanks. And then after the pricing, after we receive the bids and select the low bid, then we'll know all of the coupon rates, yields, and we'll fill in all of the blanks. And it won't be the preliminary official statement anymore. It'll be the final official statement. And so again, any investor and holder of your bonds could receive a copy of the disclosure document.
Okay, thank you.
With this whole process, so what would be the expected date to realize the funds to go ahead and finalize this purchase? I mean, are we talking February?
You can see that. If you turn to the cover page of the preliminary official statement, it's mentioned in several places, but I'd like to just point you to the cover page, if you have it in front of you, not of the notice of sale, but of the second document, the preliminary official statement. And the date of the closing is actually at the very bottom of this page. The expected closing date is right here, February 24th. Do you see that?
Yep.
So we would price.
I guess I
As a February meeting, so that we can address the use of funds and settlement agreement and all that kind of stuff then, ideally.
Great.
Any questions?
It's a foreign language to me.
Oh. All right. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we need to, I noticed some of these we have to sign. You have the original, or the ones we have to sign? Okay. Okay.
The resolution in your packet is the document that you need to approve and sign tonight,
Okay.
and that is the formal authorization to distribute piece of sale and the POS once deemed final. So remember, this is the sale is a three-step process. You have the approval of the offering documents. You have the sale at your next meeting. So Lauren will bring you ideally bids for your bonds at your January meeting, and then we will close. We're scheduled to close the date of your February meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll make that motion to accept the resolution.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No opposed, so. Thank you, sir. Just one for me, right? Gerard's gonna get writer's cramp.
Anything for me, or is it you and Gerard?
Yeah, it's just one. Okay, then, my thing. Okay. Is there just the one, or is there two, in there two? Or is it,
There's a number of copies in there, but it's all.
okay.
Then you have an original that has a president and secretary signature, and then two
Okay.
certified copies for the secretary's
Got it.
signature.
Okay, okay. All right, number 4, are we finished with that one then?
Yeah.
Number 4, the audit report. I was gonna say, I didn't
I don't have
get one. Okay, okay, all right, so,
We didn't
It's a
have,
little early for the audit report.
that's
isn't
what I
it?
was gonna
I thought that was
say.
September, isn't it?
No,
No,
it's
no, it's,
usually March or April.
No, it's usually January because they turned it in by February.
I was thinking, okay, okay.
We generally go ahead and include it at this time, just based on your filing deadline, but we'll go ahead and put it back on the agenda for next month,
Okay, okay,
along with item 5, which we put on the agenda with the presentation from your audit, because part of your auditor's preparation of the audit is a review of your investment policy.
got it, okay.
4 and 5
So,
are done.
4 and 5 are, yeah, we'll put them back on the agenda
No
next
wonder I
month.
couldn't find it.
Okay,
Yeah.
5 was in there,
5 is here, yes, but
yeah, 5
you
was.
want to wait for the other one
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Number 6 is the engineer's report. Oh, you gotta unmute yourself, Taylor.
Never fails, never fails. So I reattached the summary of costs for you guys to take another look at. I did get a comment from Tom about some stuff and whatnot. I mean, for the most part, it looks relatively the same. We can discuss the order in which projects are done once we sell bonds, but I still agree with the projects that we're including in this bond now. Going forward. We're shooting for a submittal date in January. Just basically the timeline of the work needing to be done to get it complete, and that's kind of the progress we're making right now.
Good.
Any questions?
Have we heard anything back from TCEQ on the, everything we've done? Everything's good for the park bonds then?
Yeah, everything's good. That's where the whole official statement, we received their official statement and things like that, so that's why we're able to continue forward with the.
Okay. I didn't know if we had gotten the final documents or not.
We do have the final order in hand.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So Taylor, it's Gerard, got a question for you. For January, you're referring to the second bond?
Yes, the WS&D bond.
Okay, and so the numbers that you're using for that, I think they were around 7 million is where you're at right now, something like that?
That's correct.
And so, I'm just curious, what kind of input you've had from the board? Has the board put forth that $7 million number, or where did that come from?
That was based off of the first 4 years of the 10-year CIP plan that you guys authorized for us to put together, and so those are the most critical projects that we included in the first bond app for the coverage of the 4 years. Typically, when you do bond, you aim to complete the work in a 3 to 4 year time frame based off of the TCEQ rules, and so that's where that number was generated from.
And last month, he asked us if we wanted to reorder some projects or whatever, to contact him, and I think several of us made some comments and things like that.
Yeah,
about
rearrange the order.
Rearrange the order.
Okay. Would you guys be open to doing a workshop to go through those line by line and looking at those rather than just doing such a big lump sum?
I don't think.
As far as what? I'm not an engineer. I'm not
No,
an engineer, I don't think any of us
either.
are.
Just for prioritization.
Oh, for prioritization? I'd contact Taylor and tell him I think what he wants us to do is sit down and go through and rearrange the order of priorities.
We discussed in the
That we're
last
going to do
meeting,
it.
that after this is done, then we can come in and say, okay, we're not gonna
Right.
do one now, we're gonna do 2 or
Right.
4 or whatever.
Right, and then,
We can shift it around as we go forward.
right.
In other words, we're not set.
Yeah, this is not
set
the
in stone
order.
that we have to do it exactly like this.
Right, but the bucket, let's just say the $7 million bucket, you're gonna progress this as I understand it. I know it's already been approved by the board, the 15 million, it's already been done, it's approved by the voters, understand that. The next step would be the application, the bond application, again, just like we're doing for the
Right.
park, right? And so you're gonna get an entire $15 million worth in that?
No,
We're
Just
only
the
asking
initial
for a little
7
under
million.
7 million.
So about 7 million
right,
A little under, yeah.
For the first 4 years worth of project.
right,
for the
And we'll
first
be
4
able to
years.
do most of the
6.9.
work, we think, with that.
yeah.
Okay, and so what I'm thinking is, why not take it in smaller steps? And
Because there's a cost associated with every time you issue these.
there is some cost, I do understand that. I think most of the cost is percentage of whatever the bond is, so whether you do it in 1 step or 7 steps, it doesn't really matter, it's a percentage.
What's the benefit of doing that? It just takes us longer to get it done.
Guys, if I could interject a quick point, that you can get authorized to sell $7 million worth of bonds, but you don't have to sell it all in one lump sum, one go. And so you would only be charged one engineering fee, and the fees associated with your percentage that you're discussing is actually an improvement to you because it limits the amount as it progresses with some of the different contracts. So that if you sold, let's just say $3 million bonds, some of your consultants may get just a flat fee of 2%, but if you sell over $5 million, then it starts to digress into 1.5% as it goes up. So it's actually more of a benefit to sell, to authorize $7 million and then sell it in phases if you choose not to sell it all at one time.
This
Excellent
also
point.
allows you to make a market decision at the time you obtain approval from the TCEQ, right? So you have, should an application that included these projects be approved by the TCEQ, you would have the ability to sell these bonds, but you would have a conversation with Warren regarding tax rate impacts and the projects and priorities at the time and all that stuff. And so, you make the decision then, hey, interest rates have come up dramatically. We think we should scale this back. You might, were interest rates to increase dramatically, that might be something that you would need to consider doing. Were you still in a low interest rate environment? You might want to, consider doing all of it. It would be a decision for the board to make at the time. I'll also add that when you obtain the approval of the TCEQ for these specific projects, you have the ability to go back to the TCEQ for other water, sewer, and drainage specific projects, right? So if you, if you go in to do your, let's say your water plant number 2 recoding, and you discover that some portion of water plant number 2 does not need to be recoded, and you only need to spend $50,000 or $100,000 doing that project as opposed to $280,000 $8,000, you can go back to the TCQ and get their approval to spend those funds on another qualified project.
Good.
Hey, Lauren, can I ask you, how many times did the interest rate change last week on bond issuances, prime, tied to prime and that? Because I know I'm trying to get a home equity loan for some work I need to have done, and they told me the rate changed 5 times last week.
Yeah, of course. No, it changes every day.
Yeah.
And
none of them went down. They all went up.
All right.
I
What did you
said,
say?
none of, they didn't go down, they went up.
Yeah,
This
the
environment-
municipal market fortunately has so far remained relatively stable. I don't know about the mortgage rates, I don't keep up with those, but obviously there's been a lot of volatility in the equity markets the past couple weeks. But the municipal index has been relatively stable for the last 6 weeks or so. We did see some increase kind of at the end of October, but it hasn't spiked, fortunately. So, you know, we'll see kind of, basically at this point, we're kind of in a countdown, you know, between now and January 27th. We'll see where we are in January 27th. I will mention, this is an aside, and I'm not trying to deviate us on a tangent here, but January is one of the best months to sell bonds just from a supply and demand perspective. You know, a lot of municipalities kind of get started in January and they're not ready to sell in January. That, you know, kind of a lot of the supply shows up in February and March. So I love selling bonds in January. I don't want to overpromise, of course, but just January has traditionally been a month of very low supply. And so hopefully that'll work in your favor.
And remember, on these WS&D bonds, you know, if we are authorizing the submission of an application at the end of January, say it goes out early February, you have 90 days, call it, assuming that there are no issues, to obtain approval from the TCQ, and then another 90 days approximately to sell the bond. So roughly 6 months from submission of the application to funds at hand, depending on timing of meetings and whatnot. And again, no issues, no compliance issues, nothing like that would kick you out of expedited review. And so, you know, it is a long process, and so you will be, you know, you won't have cash in hand to do any of these projects that you're talking about until, you know, August. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, so kind of going back to my question, I don't know, I guess I still don't understand it, the answer fully, completely. So you do a bond application for $7 million. What you're saying is you can have multiple sales against that one bond application?
That's right. The approval is good for 2 years, and you can get TCQ approval for an additional year on top of that. But you don't have to sell, you know, during that window, you don't have to sell the entirety of the application. And I have had clients reduce the amount of bonds sold for one reason or another after obtaining approval.
But you could do multiple sales. Let's just say you wanted to do $3.5 million in year 1 and $3.5 million before the end of year 2.
That's correct. But I think the most important thing, and it's always difficult to say where interest rates are going to go, but you're going to be selling 25-year bonds for these projects no matter what, right? And so the goal is to get the lowest interest rate possible. You know, unless you decide that they are projects that you don't want to do, you should make a market or interest rate based decision. And obviously there's no, you know, but we all wish we had a magic ball that would tell us where interest rates were going to go. We would, you know, be sitting on a beach somewhere, but that should be the primary, primary driver of your decision making, assuming that they are all projects that you want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Yeah, with that assumption, yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. All right,
Anything else?
are we good?
No other
Okay.
questions?
All right, the resolution for the resolution for the estimate of the value at December 1st, 2021.
When we submit your bond application, we have to include financial feasibility information for the TCQ. That feasibility can be based off of your certified taxable value. It can also be based off of an estimate of value, which you can request from the appraisal district, and they are required to produce. So districts that are involved in the issuance of bonds regularly request estimates of value from the appraisal district to get a more current snapshot of what the taxable value in the district is. A look in between those, kind of September, October certified values that you get on an annual basis. So this would be a December 1, 2021 estimate that we would be requesting. I think it would help Lauren in his analysis. Lauren, is there anything that you want to add?
No, Davis, I think you mentioned that it would be used in the application. I think we're going to include it in the preliminary official statement as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so do I have a motion to accept the resolution requesting the preparation of the estimate of total appraised value of taxable property within the district as of December 1st?
I so move.
Okay. Do I have a
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right.
Your signature.
Where's the-
All right, number 8, financial and bookkeeping matters, bookkeeper's report. I had a question, I need to find it real quick.
Look, we have two different bills from the accounting service.
Yeah, and how come it was so high this month?
Well, we got two different bills too. One for 4,000.
Yeah,
One for
that was the one I was looking at.
That's a good question.
Good, yeah,
Did we miss one last
We
month?
missed one last month?
but still it shouldn't be 4,600.
No,
Well, yeah, but it's total of 6 by the time you look at
Right.
two of them. It's high, either way you look at it,
Yeah,
either way you look at it. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
I know she's talking to me about having to prep for the the bonds to be sold, because they're gonna have to set up separate accounts and all that stuff.
right.
Bank stuff, all the usual stuff, But I didn't think she was charging us for that yet.
Or at least that much.
Yeah,
Well, neither one of them, I mean, they just say bookkeeping fees, they don't explain what they're for.
yeah, okay, you're right, I don't,
Yeah.
I'll have to
And
call her and
they're
ask her.
unusually high.
Yes,
And what was land care? What was that the ditch?
yes.
Okay,
So,
okay,
So
so we
three
started
ditches.
on it.
Three
Oh,
ditches.
Okay, all right. So we did start on that, so.
North
okay.
ditch, south ditch, and the upper part of the Plantation Creek, east ditch.
East ditch, yes. Okay.
East ditch,
Gotta get that out of my brain.
Yep,
we don't have a creek.
Nope, do not have a creek.
All of those are in Grand Central.
Yep.
okay. I think I'm good with everything
So
else.
what do we
except those.
do
I will
with like
call.
this bookkeeping thing? Do we just accept it, or do we?
Well,
do we
he's
pay
gonna have
this
to
and then
call.
have him research and maybe have it sent back if it's in error?
Yeah, or we can not sign the check and have them research it, whatever you wanna do. But we won't be meeting again until after the 1st of the year, remember?
My recommendation would be to go ahead and sign the check, and I will hold it
Yeah.
until I get an answer. And then I'll let you guys know what it is, and then if you say,
Make a
okay, I'll
decision.
release it.
Okay, because like I said, that, usually it's around 2,000, I think,
Well,
totally.
do we have a walking quorum? Davis, I need an opinion. Do we have a walking quorum at that point if he reaches out to us with what the invoice is for and we make a decision at that point?
I think it'd be better if he reached out to you, Julie, as the president, just to make sure the charges are legitimate. I mean, I think that's all Richard is
Yeah.
confirming, is that there's not an error
Right.
on the invoice. I think municipal accounts, I mean, I haven't seen your agreement, but I know they typically bill a base fee and then an hourly rate for additional work.
Right.
And so I think it would just be reviewing what that additional
Right.
work.
Yeah, but
What?
there should be some explanation of what the
Yeah.
extra charges are.
Well, do you have an invoice with the, we should, oh, they,
I don't get one from them, I just get a
Oh.
thing.
okay,
I know they have talked to me about, like I said, they are gonna come back to renegotiate the contract because of the additional cost for the bond
okay.
stuff, but I haven't seen that contract
Well, if
yet.
they want it renegotiated, they shouldn't be billing us yet then.
Right, that's what I'm saying, this is something that's
Okay.
not normal, I gotta find out what's going on.
Okay,
And to be clear, I mean, there is a little bit of work associated with the sale.
right,
It should not be a huge amount. I mean, typically bookkeepers, we see a couple $1,000s in charges associated with the entire sale process.
right,
Some bookkeepers will charge a fixed fee, for a sale. There will be a little bit more work on this first one because you don't have an existing, debt service fund. You don't have a capital projects fund. And so once those funds are established, there'll be, less work on future bond sales.
And it shouldn't be an ongoing thing, it should just be
No.
at the point of exception and then go away, correct? I mean,
But,
the excess
that's
work.
right, there will be some, work associated with, your debt service payments, but it's minimal, and I believe it would be included in your base fee.
Okay. That was my biggest question.
Where did you see the second one? I only see the one for them for
There's
two
one up
thousand.
top and
there's,
there's one
here's
top.
towards the bottom.
Line item, 3161
2, 3, 4,
and
5.
3135,
Seventh one down from the top and then,
and then down here.
3161. Oh, yeah, that one doesn't
That's
look
at
right.
$4,000,
Yeah.
$2,600 and
$4,600.
4,000 something.
yeah,
And it kind of surprises me that they charge two different times, two different numbers
Yeah.
without.
well, that's the
any-
check numbers.
Without any,
Yeah.
That's the check numbers.
you sure that's not a, item number?
Mm-mm.
Okay, whatever they
No,
are.
the account numbers are over on
Okay,
this report.
Right, all right.
Those are check numbers.
at any rate, we should have more explanation.
Yeah, I'll definitely get an explanation on that one.
When it goes
That's
up
way
that
too much. Okay, I'll take care of it.
And if we're gonna get into serious negotiations.
And again, Dee, we are in the black.
Okay, that'll be the cover
Make you
sheet.
happy? Okay, we're happy now? Okay. So make sure you put that on next door. So we are operating in the black. Gotcha.
That's
So,
what the whole purpose of it was.
so,
But we don't want to.
concept.
We're not here to make money, but we're not here to lose money either.
that's right.
I don't mind making money.
We're not here to
I said, I
subsidize.
don't mind making money.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we don't wanna make money, I wanna fix stuff, is what I wanna do.
Well, you gotta make money
Gotta
to
make money to
fix,
fix
fix
That's
stuff.
right.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
I wonder, well, I don't know.
I know they charge
'Cause I'm-
more
I
for
was
the
gonna
quarterly
say-
report, but I didn't see the quarterly report in there, that's what I was looking
Uh-uh.
for.
Yeah. Well, and it's also looking, if you, what did those add up to? Did they add up to $7,400?
One of them was 4,600.
And the other one was 2,000
2,000
something.
something.
It's around,
It could be 74.
Okay, because they got prepaid bond issuance costs on the balance sheet of 7,400, 7,463. Is that those two added together?
Yeah, it's only gonna be like 66,
Oh, 66, okay,
67 maybe.
okay. I don't know what it is then.
I'll find out.
Okay. Okay, all right. I think that was all I had. Is that,
That's the only major
yeah,
question.
okay. All right,
Don't forget to approve the checks.
yeah, I know. So do we have, do we have a motion to accept the bookkeeper's report as is and to, accept the issuance of the checks?
I'll make a motion that we accept the bookkeeper's report pending review of the two bills in December.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, tax assessor collector's report. just a little bit on there this month, but
Yeah.
Not a lot of
hopefully
activity.
next month will be.
That's right.
Yeah, they got my money.
Don't have mine before the first.
There you
They
go.
got quick, I mailed it one day and it came out of the bank.
The next day?
How'd they get it so fast?
Yep,
Connections.
there you go.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got it quick.
Yep. Okay, review of the investments.
What investments we have.
Well, it's growing, so. All right, any questions on the investments? Okay, paying very little interest and, charging more. Payment of the district bills we already did, review the investments, okay. Review the administrative reports, managers' reports and systems totals.
Hey, before you get started, I really like that one sheet review you do. This really makes it a lot easier to understand,
Yeah,
everything else, so
yeah, that's good.
hats off.
Except you need to change the last thing where it says the ditches, you haven't gone out for bids yet, and they haven't begun the work yet.
Well,
Yeah,
that being
When it's
said,
done.
Yeah.
it's just a good report. I
Yeah,
like the
it is, I
report.
do,
it's a
yeah,
lot cleaner report than the
Yes.
other one.
Yeah,
yeah, yep, so. All right, so I'm
Okay,
gonna
so-
add, can I ask you a question about this? And I know you haven't gone over your thing yet, but based on what happened at my house yesterday, do you think some of these over 50,000 could be related to the same thing with the water pipes that go under their houses that they don't realize what's happening?
Water pipes are a little bit different. They're gonna show up pretty quick, 'cause things are gonna get wet. Remember, that's under pressure. Sewer lines are not. So they won't show up like a broken water line will. On top of that, we can look at the
But
meter.
if it's under your house, you wouldn't see it.
I would see it in the meter, because the
Well,
meter would
that's
stop
true.
turning.
Right,
See, you'd see no visible signs outside, there's no faucets running, and the meter's turning, there's a problem past that.
Yeah,
And if
somebody's
it's-
gotta
and if
have
I
it.
shut it off at the house, and the meter stops, now I know it's under the house.
okay. Can you just check out these 13 houses, these top 13 houses, and let's just make sure that, one, that somebody's living in them, and that we just don't have pipes running everywhere, and two, that is the case. I mean, you can't have 5 people using 60,000, an average of 60-some thousand gallons apiece.
And we did have a lot of people turn their sprinkler systems on last month, during this time. I mean, during this, period.
That's a lot of water, though.
No,
That's-
I'm telling you, some people,
I got one
$50,000, $60,000 for irrigation is not that much. I've seen them use 100,000, 120,000. And, personally, I think it's ridiculous, but they just water like heck. I went over to a guy's house because he said his water bill went way up and he just didn't understand it. Well, the guy used 87,000 gallons of water to water his front yard. He didn't have sprinkler systems in the side or the back, but his wife had
So
planted
it's gotta
all
be a
these.
swamp.
Yeah,
He's
I went
gonna
over and the
drink
water's
water,
running down
yeah.
the street. And I said, sir, you're wasting water. It's going down the street. Nope, my wife spent all this money on these flowers. She said, water them every day, that's what I'm doing.
I know that house.
Okay. You know that one.
Okay, we have 13 accounts using almost 10% of the water.
It'll go down next month because the weather's
It
getting
took-
cooler.
You know, it took me over 30 days with that pipe broken under my house. It took me more than 30 days. I saw my bill going up,
Right,
but I could not find a reason for it.
right.
It wasn't even showing up in my yard. It was showing up in my neighbor's yard.
And see, I find that unreal because we know how little water my bill shows.
Now, I have had other people that have used like 80,000 gallons of water that do not have a leak. They can't find a leak anywhere. They've checked everything, come to find out they had a water softener. The softener goes into a backwash cycle and sticks. So it runs a steady stream of water down the drain that you don't see because it's piped in as that, and it just ran for 24 hours until we caught it.
Wow.
So you will get some like that.
Yeah, but that can't be that much water because even during the freeze, when my water stuck on and I couldn't shut that faucet off full blast, ran for 3 days, and my water bill wasn't
Yeah.
that high.
Yeah.
I just find it unreal. We have 13 people.
I'll look into
They
that.
use
Some of them,
10%.
Very large
Some of them, you know, I mean,
it
some
could
of them
be,
it's
but
normal
it's-
for them, I mean, it's just an average, but I'll look into it for you.
Okay, alright, so I just wanna make sure that that we're not, you know, they're not having a problem.
Right.
And we're just billing them for it without realizing and
Yeah.
telling them that they have a problem.
Oh, yeah. No, every time when she's putting the meter readings in, the computer will flag us. If
Okay,
it's over 10% of the previous bill, it will automatically flag.
okay,
And she will call them, especially these people over 50,000. She'll call them and they'll, oh, I'm sorry, we had this or this, or, you know.
okay,
But yeah, she does do that.
okay, alright. Now I'll let you go into your report. Sorry.
Okay, the report looks pretty clean. Everything is running fine. As you can see, there's very little comment on it because the systems are running with no issues. We did have 34 customers that were disconnected this past month. And I have a question to present to the
Again?
board. Yes. Oh,
Okay.
it'll go up. Next month, it'll go up.
But
And
it
in
wasn't,
January,
wasn't it 34 last
it
month?
was 28 last month.
Okay,
Next month, it will go up. I'm
Because?
telling you that now.
why?
Because people will spend money on Christmas and they won't pay the water bill.
Okay,
In January, it'll go up again. And then we'll start settling back down till February or March.
okay.
So
Because they're getting their
just,
bills for Christmas?
yep,
They
watch
can't be
that.
buying something because there's nothing there to buy.
I know.
Sure, shelves are empty.
Right. Now, the question I have for the board is this. Our policy states that if they're on the disconnect list, you know, we charge them a $50 reconnect fee. Now, people are having a fit over that, but that's the policy. I tell them if you're shut off, it's an automatic $50. You know, if they turn it back on, we're charging them a $35 tamper fee because they're not supposed to be touching that meter, especially if it's off.
35 plus the 50?
Yes.
Yeah.
They get charged the $50 for disconnect, period. That covers our costs. We gotta go out there, shut it off.
I would
Then we
think
gotta
the
go
tamper
out and
fee
turn
would
it
be
back
more.
on. And then and then Taylor's gotta do all these reports and stuff and make up all the letters and everything. And the cards to send out. So that pretty much covers that. Matter of fact, it's pretty close really. But the tamper fee comes when they don't pay the bill and go out there and turn it back on. They
We
didn't pay the
can't put
bill.
we can't put a, I don't know, legally,
Lock?
can we put a lock on them?
Sure we can. And
Yeah,
some
we
of
do
them,
it all the time.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have clients that do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I will be, frank and say that typically the penalties are more severe.
yes. Yes.
Higher, so.
If you're at point of queries, you get disconnected, it's $200 to get it turned back on. So
what's
we're
your
pretty
question?
cheap. You know,
Okay.
my question is, some people are upset about it and they say, well, we'll approach the board. I said, you're more than welcome to come to the board meeting. I said, all I'm doing is upholding the policies of the district.
I don't see
You know,
anybody approaching.
And
the
on top
board.
of that, you're not,
That man.
and Davis, correct me if I'm wrong on this statement, you're not legally supposed to be touching that meter anyway. That's on our side, not on the customer
Right.
side. So if you did that, you're already in violation.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that's what I would think the tamper fee would be more than $35. I would think it would be more than the disconnect fee.
I'd be glad to raise it,
Because what happens if they break something?
then they have to pay for it.
Okay, so what's the cost
So,
to get a
so
lock?
typically what happens is if when the operator goes out, turns water off, you know, if they're found, the customer's found to have turned it back on, then they'll go shut it off and lock the meter.
That's correct.
And if the customer locks, you know, tampers with the meter from there or cuts the lock, then the operator will pull the meter
That's correct.
entirely and cap the line.
Right.
Customer will be responsible for all of those costs. I mean, it is tampering with the public water system,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
and it is absolutely something to be taken seriously.
Most-
Is it a criminal offense?
Yes.
Yes, that's their utilities.
Okay.
Yep. And I'll have, a lot of times if I get customers that are really upset and they're screaming in this office, like one guy came in and he was really big and Taylor got scared of him, I called the constable. And I said, when he comes back in, I don't want you sitting in that parking lot. And he was there, you know. And I said, look, I'll be glad to have the constable explain it to you, but that's the law. You know, you might not like it, but all I'm doing is fulfilling the law. You have no right to touch my meter, period. And so I held the ground and he backed off, you know. But I just want to make the board aware that this last time was the first time we really encountered that where people
Did
actually
somebody
got-
really turn it back on?
Oh, yeah. We have 4 of them that turned it back on. So we'll go back out there and like Boughton Davis says, we'll go back there and lock them off. And then they can't, our locks are pin locks, so they can't get them loose. And we won't turn it back on until they pay the entire amount.
Right.
Not just last month's, but now if they tamper with it, they gotta pay the entire amount, including the current bill. So if you hear about it, that's what's
Okay.
going on.
All right.
I just wanna make the board aware of that.
So
So do we-
should we lock them when you turn it off?
Some of them I can't lock because the older ones and section ones don't have locks on the valves. I'd have to replace everything out to do that.
So you can't.
Most people won't turn it back on. I'll say the percentage is very low, you know, but you do get some people that they're just defiant, they're gonna turn it back on no matter what. So,
But today's environment, I don't know.
and the other thing is that they have, and we explained this to them too. Just because they didn't pay the bill before the crew went home, doesn't mean we're gonna come back out
Right.
after hours to turn that on. It's not
Well, I
my
know
fault
who
you
you're
didn't pay the
talking
bill.
about on that one.
Right.
Yeah, when, you know,
I saw
I'll turn
that
it back
on
on
To your
at the next,
convenience, not theirs.
at the next normal business hours, we will turn it back on. You know, if you don't pay it, that's why we don't turn them off on Fridays. The latest we'll turn them off is on a Thursday, even if we're over a couple days, because we've given the people enough time to come in here and do it. Because I don't like shutting people off for the whole
Right.
weekend, then they really get mad,
Yeah.
you know. But those are the
Well,
issues.
there's a
that-
lot of things that could happen over a
Well,
weekend.
exactly, you know, especially if they have kids and stuff, you know,
Yeah.
so. But anyway, I wanted to bring that to your attention, so you see what's going on there.
So if we want to raise either the tamper fee or the disconnect fee, do we need to put it on the agenda for next month if we want to entertain that?
Yes.
Yes,
you
I
need to.
Because you're changing the policy.
I would,
The
I
agenda
would suggest. we-
say that the disconnect fee, you know, I mean, you're gonna have customers and you have,
Yeah.
it seems like you have about 25 or 30 who are disconnected on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I think that is, an administrative fee where you wanna make sure you're covering the cost.
Right.
The tamper
The
fee,
tamper
I
fee
think,
is the one,
the-
yeah,
That's
where
the one you want to
start.
raise.
right,
That's
Right.
the
Not
punitive
the
cost.
right,
Right, exactly,
right, so they don't do it again.
right.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it's Point Aquarius, it's a $200 disconnect, reconnect fee. I mean.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the disconnect as long as we're
Exactly.
okay, but it's the tamper, I don't want
Right.
them doing it a second,
Exactly.
I don't want,
Yeah.
You
I want
don't
them to
want
learn
them-
from their,
And realistically, we don't want them doing it either, because if they break that valve on the service side, I gotta shut the whole street down now to fix it.
Right.
You know, and then a lot of other people are now inconvenienced,
Yeah.
you know, so that's why I was bringing that up. But
okay, all right, so everybody think
In
about
prep,
it.
in prep for that meeting, do we know what an average or typical tampering fee is? Do we need to do any research on that?
I can call the city of Conroe. I think the city of Conroe is actually the same as us.
35?
Yeah, that's all they
No
are.
way.
Yeah,
Well, they're a city.
they're a big city. I can make some phone calls to some other friends of mine in other districts and
Okay.
see what they charge.
Okay.
All the rest of the systems, like I said, are doing fine. I was trying to get equipment to start cleaning out that east ditch.
Okay.
I can't get any equipment. Everyone's out of equipment. I don't know why, but all of a sudden the weather got good and everybody just, I'm on a waiting list right now to get the little track hoe. You know, I can't get one. But anyway, I'm keeping up with that. I gotta do another update on that anyway.
Have you tried, what's that, there's one over on 1488 over on your way to Magnolia, have you tried that one? It just opened a couple months ago, I think. I just saw it the other day
What,
when I
big
was driving.
equipment stuff?
Yeah, I just saw it the other day when I was going to Magnolia.
I usually go to either to United, which I shy away from them because they're higher, or Sunbelt gives us the better rate,
Okay,
plus they give us a government discount, so.
okay. We might, I don't even know what the name of it is, but it's past 2978. I'm trying to remember where it was even at.
Oh, I think I
Past
know
about
which
a
one you're talking
mile
about.
on the right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might, I don't know, so,
Okay.
anyway.
Next month, you'll see on the report where right now we're doing the annual service on the emergency generators. So we're doing everything to them, changing oil, filters, diesel conditioning, everything, test running them and all that on a full load basis. So it's not on this report yet because we're actually doing it right now.
Okay. Have we had any service?
Nope.
No major service
Nope.
breakdowns or anything?
Everything's running fine.
Do we have anything that we need to look at for possible freezing situations, or we're in good shape?
No, we're in good shape for that, yeah,
I know we didn't have any trouble last time, but
yeah.
I just wanna make sure we're not missing anything.
Is that generator, weren't you having problems with the generator a couple of months ago? Is that generator working, everything's
Oh,
working
yeah, we
fine?
fixed that.
Okay,
That same-
Fuel levels?
Fuel levels, right now I got around 90% in all
Okay.
tanks.
All right.
Plus, I just talked to I'm glad you said that. I just talked to Midtex today about because of the EPP we have to do for TCEQ. I got with Midtex
Okay.
about on emergency situations, are we on the priority list to make sure that we were? And she said, yes, we are, because we're a municipality.
Okay.
So all I have to do is call them and they'll bring a truck out.
Okay.
So, but, we're good there.
Okay. As we're talking about this, is it's gonna be 80 tomorrow?
Yes, I know.
It's supposed to be,
I just got one other operational issue, and that is, we're upgrading our, online bill pay system.
Okay.
So I need you to sign another merchant's agreement, because we're gonna update, that's also the first step for our ACH process that we're getting ready to start.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and put it in place on January 1st and test it,
Okay.
and then I'll put a notice in the,
Is there gonna be a fee for the ACH too? The ACH is gonna be free?
to my knowledge,
Okay.
and no one's charged me or talked to me anything about cost factor for it,
Okay.
so,
Because the way we do it now, it's $3, right?
2 something.
yeah,
I got a question about the online bill pay.
yes.
It's great to go on there and look at your account, see how much you owe.
Mhm.
Doesn't tell you how many gallons you used. If you wanted to depend on just looking at it online, because I haven't gotten my bill for this month yet, but I went online and I know what I owed and I
Right.
set it in. But I don't know how many gallons I used.
Okay, that's another whole issue because RVS is our operating software. All the information's in there, gallons, everything, historical, everything. The online is only the bill pay system. It doesn't have all the
Yeah,
detail.
you're gonna find almost all
Yeah.
the other cities that I do,
That's right,
you can't integrate
Yeah.
the two.
exactly. The database is stored here only, and the only thing we send to them is the files for the cost factor. That's it. That's all we send.
Okay. I tried.
I mean, you can always call the office, and I mean, she gets calls all the time.
last month, I didn't get my bill. I called up the same thing, she gave me the amount, or you went online,
Yeah.
you see the line, but I wanted the gallons used.
Yeah,
Well, my bill was a lot less. I know
Yeah.
that I used less gallons, but I was just curious
Right,
to
yeah.
know.
yeah, if you call her, she can give you all that
Okay.
information. When she pulls your screen up, she's got everything right in front of her.
Okay.
So, okay, that's all on my end. Oh, one
What
more.
about, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, you first.
No, what about, Fairway Court? Did that part come in to cover that? Whatever that those people damaged over here on Fairway Court?
No.
That they were talking about last
No,
meeting?
no, that one was supposed to have been a standard fit, turned out it wasn't. So I'm having the contractor, actually having to come out and pour it in place. So,
So we're billing
we're-
the people that damaged it, right?
as soon as I find out who it is,
Well, it should be the
landowner.
landowner.
yeah, I'll have to send them a bill, and hopefully they'll pay it, but I got a contractor working on it right now.
So it's gonna be a custom
He's
made,
gonna have to pour it in place, cause it's an oddball size, and the other two lines are tied in a weird
Wow.
situation,
And
yeah.
they've
Okay.
stopped working on that altogether, right?
yeah.
Yeah, they haven't done anything to it since they
Bill
cleared it.
back the landowner. I
Yeah.
mean, when you get the bill, we'll
Yeah.
prove that, I mean, I'm assuming we'll prove that it gets billed back to the landowner. They're
That's all
responsible for
That's all I
anything
can
that
do
happens
is
on their
bill
property.
to the landowner, because I don't have an account
Right,
to go against them on it, They're not, they haven't applied for anything, not even
Yeah.
tap fees or anything, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have to do that, yeah. He was out here, as a matter of fact, just the day before yesterday, taking measurements and stuff. So,
do we have an estimate?
no, not yet, I'm waiting for that.
What caused the damage?
They
They-
cleared the land, and their big tractor that they were using to push stuff over actually ran over it and then busted the side out of it, and it's a mess. It's actually working, but I mean, it looks terrible, Still, we gotta get it fixed.
Wasn't it a drain cover?
Yeah, it's just it's a storm collection box.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? No? Okay. Well, I don't wanna do my job. Oh, here it is. Okay. Authorize the eminent domain filing.
Okay, state law requires that all entities with eminent domain authority make an annual filing regarding that authority and any use of that authority. And it is important to preserve that authority. So you obviously have exercised that authority, and it is required by law. So just ask you authorize process to make the filing on your behalf.
Okay. Do I have a motion to
Yeah, so
authorize the filing?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, do we need to go into executive session?
We don't, I'll just tell you that we are on schedule.
Do what?
Paul is, if you want to comment real quick, Paul.
Yeah, no, we don't need an executive session, Julie, but I will say that y'all are on track to having the funds at hand to, I'll say officially and sort of permanently pay for the park and own it. And so I'm real happy to be able to say that Davis and Taylor done a great job working on this, and we're on track, and that's really all we have to report.
Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any pending business? I do want
The
to.
only, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we will be meeting on January 27th, to sell the bonds. So, it would be really helpful if I could know, who was planning to attend, because I have a lot of documents to prepare with directors' names on them. And if, particularly if officers.
I will within a week.
Okay. I plan to be there.
I plan to be there.
Okay.
Tom?
I'm looking.
Tom's looking at his calendar. Drawer?
Yes, I'll be there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. I'm
Thank you very
should
much.
be able to.
Okay. Tom says he should be.
Okay.
And Mark will know within a week.
Okay, great.
Where will that meeting be? Will that be
Here?
here?
Yep. Okay. The only other thing I have under pending business, and I probably need, I don't know, I need some help on the way other entities approach this. Apparently, people are not paying attention to our park guidelines and our park rules and driving motor vehicles on Charleston. I have a meeting tomorrow with the sheriff's department to see how we can get them to enforce that. Anyway, you've gone with the constables when you caught them. I was called a lot of four-letter words when I approached the people.
They can do that a lot with me, I had a constable standing beside me.
Yeah, so what do other entities do to enforce these park rules?
But before you go there,
So-
let me mention one
Okay.
thing. Dee witnessed, a guy playing golf out there on a golf cart,
Okay.
hitting golf balls on, I guess it was the old number 5.
Right.
Which can be very dangerous if
Right.
you got people walking or biking or
Right.
anything else. They're not expecting to be having to dodge golf balls.
Well,
So-
the night I saw him, it was about this time at night, riding motorcycles up and down
Yeah, there's
Charleston.
another guy that's been complaining about the motorcycle. He was saying he's gonna get one too, and I sent him a private message. I said, I'll be glad to escort you off with the constables as well.
Yeah, yeah. So what do other entities do when they have issues like this? Or do other law enforcement agencies enforce those rules? And do I need to, when I have this meeting tomorrow, what's your suggestions?
My first suggestion is, one, I think that meeting with the sheriff's department is a great idea. Typically, the feedback I would say that my clients get most often is ensuring that people that are breaking the rules have notice
Right.
of what the rules are, and so signage is generally the first step when working towards enforcement. Coming up with, I would say, a simple, straightforward, clear sign that addresses the rules that you think are of greatest concern or most likely to be enforced.
We do have signs at each end of the, I don't want to call it a hole.
Every
Each end of,
section.
every section of the park. We have on
yeah.
each beginning and end of each section.
And I
There you
will
go.
comment that the constable mentioned that many times to the group that we stopped.
You know,
You know, as a matter of fact, he's turned around and said, right there, read the sign. Just
Well, the guy
yelled
was
it.
sitting right in front of it when
Yeah.
I saw him, yeah, so. But, yeah, so, anyway, go ahead, Davis.
No, perfect. The next step obviously is contacting law enforcement, which you all have done, as well, and getting their, and, you know, you hope that the, district attorney will take, you know, legitimate charges like that seriously and prosecute those crimes. Also have the ability to pursue people.
Hey, Taylor,
Taylor?
Taylor, can you mute? Okay, sorry, Davis. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you have the ability to pursue people civilly for, damages. But, you know, that's a cost benefit analysis situation that can be tough, right? I mean, you know, obviously you don't wanna, you don't wanna just go around, you know, suing everybody that violates the rule in the park, but if you have someone who is, you know, if you had a group of people that were using it like a, you know, motorcycle track on a regular basis and doing a lot of damage, you know, and you aren't able to get necessary attention from law enforcement, that is an option that you could consider. The other thing I will say is, you know, it is expensive, but state law allows you to provide law enforcement services. And so we have, I have a number of clients that contract with the county sheriff or the constable to provide law enforcement services, and also some that work directly with officers on an extra job program for more limited services. So, and that really is, you know, ultimately, you know, the solution. But again, it's, you know, it is expensive. You can expect, you know, to pay, you know, a pretty penny for, you know, an officer who's out there on a regular basis. Sometimes you can get you know, you can find an arrangement that might make a lot more sense on an extra job basis.
Right.
You know, maybe as needed, you know, what you can work out. So.
Okay. Okay.
Can I add a little bit to that,
Sure.
guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we set up, you know, the Charleston Park was being developed and all that, one thing you did is you passed a set of park rules.
Right.
And this was a long time ago, right? So
Right.
it's probably not fresh in our minds, but you had to do that because one, it's the right thing to do when you have a park, but two, as part of your development of a park, there were certain steps you had to take to, like, officially be developing a park. So you have a set of rules in place, and based on that is where you posted these signs that are throughout the park, and they reference the rules.
Right.
So I think you have good enough notice out there for that. So I'll just say this just to make a long story short on it. Under your rules, someone who violates the rules is subject to a civil penalty. So this is in addition to everything y'all just talked about, which is all totally valid. And Davis and I have another client that has a bunch of ditches and things like that, and they let people go out there, same kind of thing. And so they actually use this tool. It's in your rules. And so the way it would work is you would issue a notice of violation, almost like a ticket. And we could help you do that. We have those forms, we draft them for our other clients, but you would cite them basically. They would come to your next board meeting and you would take evidence on the violation and you can assess your own fine. It's up to $10,000 per violation, which is obviously exorbitant, and you would probably never go that high unless there was something like really egregious. But you could fine someone $500 or whatever you felt reasonable, and it wouldn't take anyone else stepping in, and it lowers the cost, etc. So, and just remember, once you start doing that, you're obviously going to get the attention of people in the community, good, bad, or indifferent. So it's not something that should be done lightly. But I like that tool and just wanted to make sure y'all are aware of it. It's in your rules. And again, you would simply issue it's usually issued through the engineer's office, could be through your general manager, a citation, calling the person down to the next board meeting for a hearing, and you would convene it during your board meeting. It would last a few minutes, take on evidence, and you could give people warnings, which is usually the right first step. And then they do it again, you fine them or something like that. So I think if you have real problems with it, I want to recommend to you that that's something that you consider.
Okay.
So, this is Gerard, I got a couple questions. First, so obviously there's been some violations.
Correct.
What kind of violations have there been? What kind of motor vehicles?
So what I observed after getting several phone calls several days in a row was a gentleman on a motorcycle with a child, I'm gonna say about 6 or 7, on his own motorcycle, on his own motorbike, with his wife on a golf cart. And when I saw him, it wasn't quite this late, it was probably 7 o'clock at night, because I had gotten another call and I got tired of getting calls, so I went down there to see what was going on. And a lady had just been walking her dogs with a flashlight that I could barely see, sitting in my car, and I was like, well, I'm about to go home because I'm not seeing this person or these people. And all of a sudden, I saw 3 vehicles fly by me. And I stopped them when they came back. So they're doing 2 sections, at least, because I now know what street they live on, at least.
Rapidan?
Well, I don't know. I saw them go to Braxton Bragg. Is that off Rapidan? No? Then it's somebody different. Okay. And so when they came back, I stopped him, and he was right in front of the sign with the rules on it. And I said, these are the park rules. I'm just informing you, blah, 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 blah. I've also seen people in trucks drive across them. I sent you a picture of it because you had made the comment, nobody drives across it. Well, the very next day, I took a picture of a truck driving across it. I don't know who thinks that that's okay. I would have never entered my thought process.
Coming out of Mosswood?
This one was going to Mosswood,
Okay.
yeah.
In or out of Mosswood?
But there was no traffic stoppage or anything,
No,
so,
shortcut.
Yeah.
So, got some violations with motorcycles, golf carts.
yeah, what'd you see?
A great big four-wheeler, a little bitty four-wheeler with a kid on it, motorcycle, another four-wheeler.
Or like an ATV or 4-wheel drive pickup truck?
No, they're actually
It's
off-road
like a
vehicles.
Side by side.
ATV then.
Side by sides, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and then there's another guy that's complaining about
I did.
motorcycles.
Yeah, that was on
roaring
next
up and
door
down
or
behind
something.
his house and.
he's gonna get one and join
disturbing
them.
every- Yeah, he said he
There are
was,
some people that have golf carts that lived on Charleston,
yeah,
and they will take the cart path.
Yeah,
Around.
and I.
And that's a motorized
Motor
vehicle.
I know,
yeah, technically, they're not supposed to
I
do
know.
that, but I think that we should be able
I
to
know,
make
I
an
know a couple
exception.
people that live on
I know.
3
think we can
Charleston.
But there's a guy that walks his dog by Dee's house every day. I see him every afternoon on his golf cart walk. Well, he
Right.
can't be walking his dog, he's riding his dog.
There's a lady that used to walk like 3 or 4 dogs hanging
And that
outside
was a
her.
lady that was the other night, that had that guy come through there as fast as he was, he would have either hit one of the dogs or hit her.
And I do know somebody that smokes cigars, and you're not supposed to have any.
Oh, I don't know who that is, but,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Most of the time, especially with the golf carts, I'll just tell them, sir, you're not supposed to be on the golf, on
Right.
the
I'm just
park.
afraid somebody's gonna get hit.
Well, we used to always do this all the time, and I said, well, no, you can't do that now, this is now officially a park.
Right,
And the rules clearly state no motor vehicles, and that includes golf
right.
carts. Well, okay, you know what, if they give me a hassle, I would use the same phrase you're talking about. I'd be glad to have the sheriff explain these rules to you.
Right.
You know.
but then you got hoverboards too, or motorized vehicles. I mean,
You can get as nitpicky
I'm not
as you
trying,
want
I'm
to,
just, I was
yeah.
just trying to find out what the violations were. And,
Yeah.
and the second of the 3 questions, comments is, have there been any serious incidents where we've had property damage or people be hurt?
Just mainly violations, noise violations, things like
Yeah.
that, but I will tell you, I have seen them in four-wheelers running over the tee boxes and jumping 10 feet in the air.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
they're going so
They're
fast, they can
fast.
jump like 10 feet, I've seen them do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I will tell you, I was afraid the guy on the motorcycle had it been 5 minutes early, would have hit either those dogs or that lady. Because it was so dark, all I could see was her
The
flashlight.
potential for that hurting somebody is there.
oh, yeah. So I guess my suggestion would be that, first of all, before we really move forward with, deciding to do any kind of, to seek any kind of civil or criminal charges, first we just start tracking it. Instead of, just being kind of, let's
Well,
talk
we did
about it.
try.
Well,
I
we
stop
have,
them
I
when I see
mean,
them.
we can't wait for something to happen before we do something.
So Richard is tracking this?
No, I'm
Richard's not here at night.
Yeah,
It's almost always after 5 o'clock.
yeah, that's exactly right. I see them on the way out. There they're going. I'm trying to chase them.
So, but what I'm saying, Julie, if you see somebody doing it, if you get a license plate, if you know who it is, you get a description of it, my suggestion is to go ahead and record it with Richard so that we have a log of what's going on, or Tom, or whoever, sees it, wants to report it, constable wants to report it, whatever. So you kind of see, is there a pattern that's
Oh, I can tell you
developing?
the pattern. Walk out your door and walk about 100 feet and sit out there at 6 o'clock at night.
What, coming up 9 Charleston?
I don't know, is that the one from the country club to the
Yeah.
CIA
Yeah.
office?
Yeah.
The old
Yeah.
nine Charles.
I've had
Yeah.
2 or 3 people over there whose houses back up to that, call me almost every day, every night.
Now, that's a popular one for them.
Yeah.
So,
There's nothing wrong with doing the log, I don't have a problem with that.
I think that would be
I just
the
don't think
logical
we need
first
to
step.
wait till something happens.
No, I agree.
Well, I'm not saying wait until something happens, I'm saying just as a very first step,
Right,
start creating a log of it.
okay.
If I could make a suggestion, let me just say a couple things here, not to extend it too much. One is if the rules really should be enforced. There's really no doubt about that in my mind. You adopted the rules, and it really you shouldn't look the other way if they're being violated. So that's the first point. The second point is, in enforcing the rules, you really can't pick and choose violations that are worthy of enforcement and ones that aren't. What I mean by that is you can't say, and I'm not saying you are, but you can't say things like, it's only a golf cart, so that's no big deal, but a four-wheeler is a big deal. It really has to be completely uniform. It can't be arbitrary. And so my recommendation is that you do need to start enforcing these. And if you decide to do that, we can help with some form documents that Richard can issue. And probably what you ought to do is, upon the first sighting, document who it is and send them a warning. Do it again, cite them to come down to the board. You have a 10-minute hearing, and you can give them a formal warning there or fine them or whatever you want to do. But I hear very valid concerns, and I just don't think you should let it, fall off to the side too easy. So I don't know. Does that all make sense, board members?
Yes.
Why do I get the idea that if you give somebody a warning like that, they're gonna wad it up and throw it on the ground?
Yep.
Well, that's why you have the
Exactly
second
what they're gonna
warning.
do. You'll be
Yeah,
like the big-
that can happen. I just, having done this for a while, we've had clients that were pretty aggressive that you did something wrong, Smith Murdoch, sue them in court and go get a judgment. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. That is, you're going to spend $100,000 doing something totally useless. So we've come a long way, so you could cite them, fine them, do that straight away. That would be totally reasonable. I just generally think if there's been sort of a lax approach to enforcement, generally the right thing to do is give people warnings, even if they throw it away. It's up to them to heed the warning. But I just think it's better than all of a sudden now we're real serious about it. We're going to start fining people. But it sounds like to me that also it's repeat offenders. So you're going to send them a warning. If they blow it off in a few days, you're going to get to send them a citation to come down to the board.
Okay,
I don't think it's a matter of being lax on enforcing it.
I think it's catching it.
It's a matter of having anybody that can do it. I like the idea of getting the sheriff's people to look at it. We could get with the CIA and see if they could ask their constables to also watch. Because they pay constables to be out here. So we could ask them to have their constables watch them as well. if we get the sheriff and the constables watching, and then us, I guess.
Well, and from my understanding, what I was told was that, in Kingwood, they had to have a couple of board members sign an affidavit with the district attorney's office that said that they would prosecute if they, which, it's not really a criminal offense, it's a civil offense. So is the sheriff's department really gonna be, now that I'm thinking about it, are they really gonna be able to do
It'd be the
anything
constable that would do it if it's civil.
when it's civil? But they can't enforce civil things until it goes through the courts.
Yeah, they can write tickets and they can.
That's
It's
civil,
trying to
that's
ask-
criminal.
Huh?
You're
If you're
talking,
here
I
after
think it's
hours, or
criminal.
if you're violating the district rules, you know, or do damage to the district's property. So I think that the constable's office is a great place to start, and working with the HOA is a great idea.
Okay.
Okay. All right, yeah, we've already talked about the next meeting, anything else?
Next meeting, January 27th.
27, correct.
At 6:30 PM.
Right.
Yep,
Do you have checks to sign?
Yes,
Yep.
they're all right there.
okay. All right, thank you guys.
I make a motion that
Oh,
we,
that's right.
I make a motion we adjourn pending signature of checks.
I second.
Okay, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,
Night, guys.
Night, guys.
bye.
Merry Christmas, Davis.
Uh-huh.
Good night,
Oh, yeah,
guys.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, thank
Doesn't
you.
seem like it's that late in the year.
Well, it's because it's 80 degrees.